Hi there. So what I'd like to do is take a look at some of the most missed questions from exam one. These are the ones that if you missed a question, it was probably one of these. These have some little differences in them as far as choosing one answer over the other when it comes to levels of measurement. So I want to make sure we're all on the same page. Same thing with discrete and continuous. The ones that I pulled may not match your exact numbers, but it is exactly the same type of problem. Some are stat crunch questions, some are knowledge, read it out of your notes questions. So we're going to go through them one at a time. If you still have questions about your specific exam, don't hesitate to reach out and let me know. We can go over it as many times as we need to so that you are ready for the final. So what I have here is a preview, or I guess a sample of what number 6 looked like on your exam. And I'm going to split my screen and pull up the notes for this section. By the way, if I sound a little weird, it's because I am actually Miss Graham. The videos you've been watching are ones that Miss Klingler recorded. So if you're a little bit confused right now, that's probably why. So let's take a look at some of our options. The first one in the notes that you came across was the nominal level. Nominal has the root nom or name in it. This is categorical data. We can't put it into an order that really means anything, and we're dealing with names, labels, or categories of things. So if we go through our list, we're looking at categories. The only one of these I see that would really fit a category would be blood type. We'll go through them again at the end in case we see something that's a little bit off. But off the top of my head, the only thing I see right here is blood type. If you're not familiar with blood type, these are the categories that they put your blood into. To tell you the truth, I don't know what they mean. I just know what they are. There's an AB, there's an AB negative and positive, there's an O positive, there's an O negative, A negative, B negative. There's a whole bunch of these. We can't really put numbers to them, and none of them is really more important than the others, so putting them into order doesn't really mean anything either. So for now, we are going to go with nominal for blood type. The next one is the ordinal level. These are things that you can put in order, but if you subtract 2 of the values in the list, it means absolutely nothing. One of the examples is course grades. Yes, we can put them in order of A is the highest, and then B, and then C, and then D, and then F as the lowest. So we can put them from highest to lowest. But if I try to do B minus F, that has no meaning. So that's what we're looking for at the ordinal level. If I go through here, the year you're born, that's only 1 year. I can't really put that in an order anywhere. Wage per hour is only 1 wage. Level of pain. So I've got bad, moderate, or no pain. So those I can put in order of severity. But if I try to do bad, minus no pain, that makes exactly 0 cents. So I think right there for level of pain, we definitely have an ordinal level, and that's B. We already classified blood type. Let's go look at movie rating. A movie rating can go from 0 to 5 stars. So if I have a whole bunch of movies, actually we could even do it with one movie. If I rate it 0 stars, and then someone rates it 1 star, and then 2 stars, and then 3 stars, and 4 stars, those matter. Those absolutely matter because having 5 stars is way better than having 0 stars. So I can put that rating in order. However, if I do 5 stars minus 1 star, as far as movie ratings go, that doesn't have a meaning. So, with that said, I think we are going to give this an ordinal level also. Now let's take a look at the interval level. Interval level says we can put it in order and we can subtract the values and get a meaningful difference. The catch is we don't have a 0 starting point. So let's see if we can come up with an absolutely correct answer, and then we'll see if it fits some others too. So we want to be able to put it in order. We want to be able to find the difference. And we want it to have a 0 starting point. Well, let's jump in. If we take a look, I'm going to start down at the bottom. Number of players on a basketball team. I could rewrite this as players per team. That is not going to fit the interval level. It's going to fit the ratio level, and we'll talk about why in a minute. We already did movie ratings. We already did level of pain. We did blood type. Let's go look at wage per hour. I can write wage per hour. Well, it's already written that way. I can make these two look the same. Those are both going to fit the ratio level. And again, I'll show you why in a minute. Let's go look at year of birth. If I were to list the years of birth for all of the students in my class. I don't know all your birth dates. Let's say I was born in 1981. My husband was born in 1976. My son was born in 2015. My dad was born in 1945. My mom was born in 1949. Could I put those in order? Absolutely. Could I subtract two of them? I could take these two, the 1949 and the 1945. I could subtract them. And that would be the age difference of my parents. So that has a meaningful difference. What we don't have is that 0 starting point. That is one of the qualifications for an interval level number or an interval level of measurement. So we can put them in order. We can subtract them and get a meaningful answer, but we don't start at 0. This one is going to be interval. Now we haven't used ratio, and I've been holding out on you. Here's where ratio comes in. A ratio is a fraction. Typically, we write fractions as a number divided by another number. So here's what we have. This word per indicates division. So this word per, right here, now I'm not talking about the sound a cat makes. I'm talking about the word P-E-R. That word right there indicates that we could write this for the wages as, I don't even know what minimum wage is right now. We'll say it's $8.25 per hour. We could say there are 12 players per basketball team. We can turn those both into a ratio of players for one team, dollars for 1 hour. That makes both of these the ratio level of measurement. Now let's look at discrete and continuous. I'm going to shrink that back down. We can pull it up if we need to. The big difference here is that discrete values use only whole numbers. Positive integers. An integer is just a whole number, but it encompasses a little more than just saying whole numbers. These are only positive integers. That means no decimals, no fractions. Continuous data uses all the numbers. It uses decimals. It uses fractions. It uses irrational numbers like pi or e or square root of 2. And it also could bring in negatives. So you have a lot more options for the continuous data. A says rainfall in centimeters. So if we put this as discrete, that means when you look at the weather, they say we got exactly 3 centimeters of rain, we got exactly 12 centimeters of rain, exactly 96 centimeters of rain. I don't know what world y'all live in, but in the world I live in, rain doesn't fall in exact centimeters. It is much more likely that we got 3.6 centimeters of rain, or 90, or that does not say what I wanted it to say, or 96.1 centimeters of rain. Rainfall includes pieces of centimeters, so rainfall is continuous data. Let's look at number of students in the class. I have had classes that have 3 students. I have had classes of 41 students. I've had 18 students. But never in my 21-year teaching career, have I had a class with 41.3 students in it. Hasn't happened. Never in my career have I had 10.754 students in class. If I had that many students in a class, I probably would not have been allowed to teach anymore. So in this case, discrete makes much more sense than having fractions of students. Now let's look at speed. Discrete speeds means you are traveling 10 kilometers an hour. Or you are traveling 60 kilometers an hour. Or 61 kilometers an hour. Well, it's possible that right in here, you traveled 60.5 kilometers an hour. My car shows me the decimals on my speedometer. So it is entirely possible for decimals to represent the speed you're traveling. That means speed is continuous data. So let's take a look at number 8. 8 got a lot of people for various reasons. I only pulled out one, but we're going to look at the 3 different options. The first one was the class width. Guys, don't make this hard. Class width means you take one lower bound and another lower bound and subtract them. So the class width is 220 minus 200. That's it. Quit thinking so much. The class width is 20. Now, does it matter which 2 classes you pick to do that? Absolutely not. If I came down here and I picked 280 and 300, the difference is still 20. You just have to make sure that you choose adjacent classes. So don't skip a class in between the 2 that you pick. There was a question that had a histogram. And it looked like this. And my iPad's not going to let me draw that nicely. It looked kind of like this, and it had, that's not going to work. I think it maybe had a 1 here, and a 3, and a 5, and a 7, and it asked about the class width. The class width is how far apart those 2 numbers are. So the class width is 2. Same idea. Now, where a lot of people really struggled was with the idea of an upper class boundary and a lower class boundary. Now, bear with me. Did you ever ride in the back seat of the car with your sibling? If you did, and you were anything like me and my sister, you were, this is the seat. And I'm old. We had bench seats in the back seat. This looks more like a school bus, but you get the idea. The cushion ended right back here. We didn't have seatbelts in the car. That's how old I am. And if you were on a road trip for a long time, if your sibling even looked in your direction, it started a fight. And it got to the point, Mom, he's looking at me. Mom, she touched me. Mom, she breathed on me. Mom, his foot was on my side. And your mom said, if you two don't stop this instant, I'm going to pull over the car and I'm going to get out and it is not going to be pretty for you two. And your mom or dad or whoever it was that took your temperature when you were sick drew a line. And granted, she probably didn't draw on the car seat, but you get the idea. Right down the middle. And to keep you two from fighting, because you know if she didn't draw it right down the middle, you would have said, Mom, his side's bigger than my side. And then your sister would have said, no, his side's bigger than my side. I don't have enough space. You put it right down the middle. So if we needed to find out where that spot was, we divided the length of the seat by 2, and that told us exactly where to put it. And then there was a little buffer zone right here and right here. And if you got really close to that line, if you got in that buffer zone, you got a warning. And Mom reiterated that if you touch your sister or you touch your brother or whoever it was that was on the other side, maybe it was your grandma, I don't know, you were going to get it. So, think of this. What are we looking? We're looking at the 4th class. So we're going to pretend that this is the 3rd class. And this is the 4th class. And we want to know exactly where this boundary is. So I'm going to go and pull some data for my 4th class. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's my 4th class. Here's my 3rd class. My 3rd class was at 259. My 4th class was at 260. I need to find, I'm going to move that 260, the spot right in the middle of 259 and 260, so I can find that line that you absolutely cannot cross, or your mom's going to like hit you with the fly swatter or something. Well, how do I do that? Well, I'm going to find the length of the seat. I'm going to do 260 minus 259 Actually, I'm going to do that a little bit differently. It'll work that way, but I think it'll make more sense this way. I'm going to find the middle. I'm going to average them. When I average those, I get 259.5. That is where this line is. In that car. So that this person has a buffer of 0.5 and this person has a buffer of 0.5. Everybody's got 0.5 on either side of the line, so nobody fights. So the lower boundary for the 4th class is 259.5. But Miss Graham, my test said upper class boundary. Okay. So let's do the upper class. For the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th class. Well, here's my 6th class. I want the upper boundary, so that means I also want to look at the 7th class. I want the location of the spot right in the middle. Well, the top of my 6th class is 319. The bottom of my 7th class is 320. I want the middle of those, so I'm going to average them. When I average those, I get 319.5. So this would be the upper class boundary for the 6th class. Now that has been a lot for 2 problems, so I'm going to pause